Welcome back. So you may notice I'm using the tripod this week. You know, I got tired of looked like crap because I was too lazy to get the tripod over here. It takes like 30 seconds to set it up. So what are we doing in this video? Hopefully I'm going to be finishing the background for the piece I'm doing for my son, the Jesse and Meow. I don't know why I did that. I'm not going to pop it up on the screen right now. We're about to go see it. This is not a charity video. My next charity video will be coming up in the summer. I'll probably start that one in May. I'll likely be starting the next painting I want to do for myself, the Kyoshu Warrior, before that. But as always, if you have anything you'd like to see me paint, if you have any recommendations for charities for the channel, for me to paint for, or if you'd like to order something for yourself, I'm always happy to hear it. I don't have too much to tell you about in today's intro though, so let's just go get painting. Okay. So, I'm sorry, I forgot to turn the air conditioner off earlier, and I just realized it, so if the first minute of this video sounds like crap, that's why. I always like starting these out talking about what we did last time and what we're going to do this time. So last time we did the nubbin. We did this here. I wish I'd done this more like the nubbin, how it has the fade, but whatever, it's going to be cut off by the frame anyways. So today we're going to try to finish doing the background. Or at least start on it. Now I want probably this area right here to be as light as this. And then I want it to fade out to where it's more like this. So we'll try to get that today. At least as much as we can. But so first thing I'm going to do is flip this upside down. Yes, I know people hate this. By the way, you may notice that the titles to my videos are changing. And same problem, YouTube is just burying my stuff. So I'm trying some more clickbaity titles. I really think it's because I don't watch my language. So I'm going to try to do better about that too. So before I mark on my main paper, let's remember to always have our test sheet. Because you can always add, but you can't always take away, you know what I'm saying? So there, I got the color, and I got some water, so it's just really, really light. I'm going to pick my focal point, which is right here, and now I can get a little more water, and that's going to give us our brightest spot. So it's going to be a little challenging in that I kind of make the focal lens, and then I'm going to fill in around her after because I don't want to squanch on her. So traditionally, right in the middle of your picture is never the best spot to start. I'm giving myself a lot of difficulty with this one. And I may slightly be regretting my actions. So I'm going to actually start in this corner here. And we're just going to slowly fade in. This is how you're supposed to do it. I actually kind of messed up just now, and you know what? I have to deal with that when I get there. You see how I added and it's already darker there? That's what you want to do. And you just want to slowly fuzz it in. Now you might notice with the paint I'm getting from the middle where there's really not a lot of paint. That's because I don't want a lot of paint. See if this is on camera, yeah. So, one thing, whenever you're painting, drawing, whatever, don't be afraid, especially when dealing with wet stuff, to rotate your paper around. Because trust me, you would rather do that than run your hand through it and mess it up. But you gotta be careful you don't, in turning your paper, your painting, whatever, that first you don't trace it through what you're working with, but also like when you're doing other mediums like acrylic or oil-based paints, they can be a little runny when you gob them on. And sometimes that'll affect how it looks. Now, I've seen some people do pictures by actually having the paint running down and then changing the direction, and it had like two intersecting running lines from the corner. This is more an abstract art. I probably won't do too much abstract unless I'm painting like weird Pokemon like Schmergle or the Polygons. Ooh. So, I saw today they made a kids movie out of the Animal Farm. If you haven't read the Animal Farm, I wouldn't think to make a kids movie out of that. I mean, I guess because there's talking animals in it. I mean, it is stuff kids need to know about, but I just feel like the movie is going to completely miss the point, or like change the point, or just like vaguely interpret it in a way, and then people are going to start imitating like the negative behaviors. Like I already seen the pig, they're like, "You're wearing clothes." He's like, "Oh yes I am, aren't I?" Like they're going to go the other way with it. Oh man, I messed up right there. See how I'm just kind of lightly brushing it out, trying to get it. And I hate doing these solid backgrounds, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not gonna enjoy this one too much. And then again, people might like it more when I'm like, oh man, this sucks. I'm sure you can relate. If you paint, I just gotta be careful, because when people start requesting stuff, then they're gonna be like, oh, I want to see him do this because he freaking hates it. They're gonna be like, I want you to paint a dude. I want to have a giant monochromatic background that is one solid tone. You know, honestly though, if people requested stuff I couldn't do, I mean, if they're wanting to buy it and I felt like I couldn't do it, I wouldn't accept the commission unless I could complete it. But I'd probably try it just to push myself. I made a lot of things I didn't want to make over the years, either for money or just because I needed to test myself, or my teacher wanted me to make it, or someone asked for it. I always talked about in school, you never want the other kids in school to know you can draw, because you get a few type of kids. The first one you get is the insecure one who's like, you didn't draw that, you traced that, you see, I see this image in the book. So I'd start drawing things mirrored, just because that kid, so I can be like, look, it's flipped around, how do you trace it? You went to the back of the page, you can't see it from the back of the page. But then you would get the kid who just would want you to draw stuff for him all the time. And it'd either be some girl that never talked to you other than that, and it was always something stupid. It was like, I want you to, you know those fairies from that show I like? Draw me as one of those fairies. It'd be so magical. It's like something like that. I guess that's what, they didn't have filters back then. Or you would have the kid that just asked you for really, really inappropriate stuff. Or just really stupid stuff like, I think I was like in 4th grade when SpongeBob came out. And I had this kid that just kept asking me for weird art involving, the menstruation cycle, Ariel, and SpongeBob. And I just told him I would do it, and I never did it. And I finished out that school year hoping I would never see that kid again, and I never did, and I'm very thankful. He's just like, The funny thing too, I mean, you gotta keep in mind, I was a kid in the 90s and early 2000s. You got called gay for anything. Like, we used to say parfaits were chick food. If you ate a parfait, you're gay. You eat a salad, you're like stupid stuff. So like, you're like, well, you don't want to draw that because you're gay. You're gay. You don't know what a woman, what her butt looks like, where they have the periods. It's like, no, Hector. What was funny about that, though, is, I mean, in my experience, the kids that were always calling other kids that usually grew up to be that way themselves or are already acting kind of sussy. You know, just so people don't get my thoughts on the matter confused. Like, whatever you want to do, I really don't think it matters. To me. Like, I don't think someone's orientation should matter to you unless you want to be with them and if you line up with it. So it's like, I don't care. As long as you're not hurting others, whatever your thing is. I have this saying that if it's within the sphere of man's knowledge, like if man has known about it, if he's ever touched it, if like people realize this thing exists, there's some human on this planet where that thing, whatever object that you're imagining when I say this, is their exclusive fetish. And that's the only thing that gets them, you know, and I just, why judge people for that if they're not bothering anyone? I had this, well, not really a friend, he's just a kid I went to school with, as long as we're talking about weirdos from your past. His name was Hayden. And he had an attraction to vacuum cleaners. I don't mean like, you know, you see those videos, there's that one of, I think he's autistic, that kid that's just like obsessed with vacuum cleaners and he knows like all the models and years and he collects vacuum cleaners. It wasn't like that. Like he felt about vacuum cleaners how the other boys felt about young girls. Well, how they felt in middle school. Before that, they were scared of girls. You know, that's another thing. As long as we're talking about stupid stuff kids said when I was a kid, you could get called gay for liking a girl. Until you're old enough to like girls, well, old enough that the other kids started liking girls, then you're gay for other reasons. You know, this, you know, I usually say, please don't be offended, but no, totally be offended by this. We had this joke when I was a kid. Well, not we. I didn't fucking... It's the stupidest... You say... You point at someone, you go, you dropped your pockets. And they look down, and you would either laugh at them or punch them. Everyone played it a little differently. But it was the stupidest thing. Did anyone else have the drop your pockets thing? You know, like the game, I thought that was like a regional thing for here, but then I started hearing it on TV, and I'm like, oh... These motherfuckers are referencing some movie I haven't watched. So, like, yeah, if you know the origins of the dropped your pockets thing, I swear that was a stupid... It would just get to the point, because it would work on everyone, because you're like, you hear what they're saying, but you don't register it, so you look down. But by, like, the second, third, fourth, fifth time, no one's falling for it. And you would just stare at the kid, and they would just laugh, and they would laugh like they just, like a modern kid, just 6, 7. They'd be, ah! Just all over the place. Like, just losing his shit because he said it to you, and you didn't react. Ah, man, I fucked up. I gotta really try to saturate that out. I'm going to do more lively backgrounds in the future just to avoid this. I got like a nice pale blue over, like, I would say half this picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this segment here. Now I'm just going to start creeping in from the corners, I guess. I'm going to go do behind the leg real quick because freaking me out. I believe I talked about it a bit in the last episode, but I've been watching Neon Genesis again, and I would like to do some Neon Genesis art, but I want to make something really cool. I haven't decided yet. I'm hoping I'll be inspired by the emotions I have by the end of the show. Of course, last time I watched the show, the emotions were resentment, anger, confusion. Now, here's a better question. If like a Gundam, or even like a swarm of Gundam, because I think the Eva's quite bigger than a Gundam. Like, if Evas were fighting Gundams, who do you think would win? I mean, like, obviously you can't say, like, oh, the entire fleet of Gundam can beat these, like, 3 robots. Of course, not that. I mean, like, it'd be equal. Like, if they're size comparable one-on-one, if they're significantly bigger, a swarm of them, you know? But I think Gundams would have the advantage. Because the Eva's, you know, the limited power supply. They could just kind of outlast them in a team scenario. I think one-on-one, though, it'd be pretty even. The Gundam would obviously quickly go for the umbilical cord to cut the power, and then they try to find something else. You know, I guess it would also depend on the pilot. You know, like, the Gundam could just be a girl, and, like, that would, like, give Shinji an existential crisis. Like, she could just get on the intercom back, my dad said he was proud of me, and he'd be like, just shut down for the rest of the fight. They'd be like, Shinji, wake the heck up. Go ride in this clone alien of your mother to win the approval of your father, Shinji. What's so hard about that? Poor Shinji. Shinji-kun. Okay, so I have a nice soft background going. Did I forget to record? Oh, damn it. Okay. So I'm going to just start going in for my corners now. And just slowly filling it in. I got that line there, so I'm going to start over here. Man, it's going to take forever. You know, I really might just try to hide that with the margin. I'm gonna be a lazy boy. I mean, of course, I'm gonna try to blend it as much as possible, but I'm like, I'm not gonna sleep over it. You know, something interesting I kind of learned recently. Late at night, when you're laying there and you have those thoughts, I mean, they're normal thoughts that all people have. Let's start by saying that. Where you might think of, like, oh, I had this social interaction 3 years ago I feel awkward about now. Or like, oh, where's that thing I can't find? That is your mind. First, it's trying to protect itself. It's your animal mind. When you're trying to relax, trying to be focused, trying to think of things to worry about. But it is the rested mind trying to distract itself, keep it busy. And there's a similar thing with meditation. Now, one thing I had trouble with meditation that no one explained to me, and I literally had to find out through adulthood about it. They always say, oh, you gotta clear your mind. You gotta clear your mind of distractions. No, you don't. You don't clear your mind. The point is to not hold on to these thoughts. It's like you're in a stream, right? And there's a bunch of twigs going by in the water, or leaves. There are a bunch of leaves. You hold on to the leaf, you're going to have difficulty, the water's going to pull on it. But if you just let it float by, it's not going to bother you. Your thoughts are like that. Like, you have those thoughts, but you cause yourself suffering when you hold on to them. But you just let them go. You learn to let them go. You concentrate on what you're focused on, trying to sleep, your breathing, your meditation, what have you. And you'll find those thoughts go away. Eventually. They stop mattering. You don't focus on them. And it's part of meditation. I think it's like the second step of meditation. Yeah, that's all right now. So I'm going to go somewhere else. Now, something else no one told me about. More stuff. When you're meditating, there is a certain spot you get to. I believe it's like the 7th layer or whatever, where you start feeling like pleasurable sensations. You might feel euphoria. If you're one to like laugh or cry when you feel happy, you may start to do that. You will feel like tingles on your body. When I was younger, I used to think that this was the point of meditation. This is what you are meditating for. But it turns out that is, again, just another blockage. And you have to keep pushing past that to truly get to blissfulness. Now, what's interesting about that state, though, I used to call it the God feeling when I was little, before I understood what it was, because there was only certain activities I could use to make it happen. Until I learned to control it through meditation, it became very hard. Giggity. But essentially, you can use this, like, you can get really good at getting to that spot and use it, like, let's say, like you're exercising or something. You need like a little extra energy. You need a little extra pick-me-up. You need to calm down and relax. You can make your brain go there to that reward center. And you get these positive, feel-good feelings, these vibrations, these tingles, whatever you want to call them. And you can use them to power through something. But it's not true meditation. Or at least it's not. It's like you're halting yourself. And a lot of people, apparently, I wasn't the only one with this issue, they'll get hung up on that state and using it that way, and they won't push further. And then they'll also feel bad if they can't achieve that state through meditation. I mean, personally, I can get there pretty quick. It's getting beyond it that's hard for me. I can literally sit there and just... But you can use this state, you can like... This is when you start being able to like quicken and slow the flow of your blood, where you can feel your breath like expanding inside of you, where you can start controlling minute details of your body. You can imagine like a flame in your stomach and gradually make yourself more warm. You can imagine your lungs filling a balloon, or the coals, like a coal on an ember being blown, and heat yourself up. But it turns out that in itself is also another roadblock, actually having this control of your body, because that's like your mind snapping into the state of, that's what I'm focused on now, is like the breathing. The next step is realizing that all this can happen independently. It's an automatic response of your brain. You don't have to sit there and make it happen. And then you can stop focusing on that And that's when you get to the true, well, place you're going. Or that you want to go. But it's interesting how all these steps to get there, I mean, you can use them for real physiological effects that you can experience, that you can feel, that you can use to affect your state of being. But it's not even the full picture. It's a small part of it. I don't know, I probably sound like I'm crazy to a good amount of people out there right now. You'd probably rather hear me talk about some Pokemon. Tell you my favorite Pokemon is that Choo Choo Nesme. Oh, I got so much paint on that paper right now. That's why you use the sample paper. Oh, this paper's getting so moist and curly. I need to stop. I think I just made another stupid line. Okay, my paper's a bit wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break. And I'm going to come back to this when it's more dry. I got that nice layer down, but it's just not mixing well because how moist it is at the moment. So for you, it's going to be a pretty instant edit. So I'll see you at the end of this. See what I tell you, pretty instantaneous. For you, a snap of the fingers. For me, well, I washed my car. Yeah, I made some General Tso's chicken. That's about it, honestly. So, as you can see, the paper is indeed very curly, would you call it? Now, the picture frame will flatten that out. It's a lot like bacon, but unlike bacon, you can't prevent this just by flipping the picture more than you normally would with other pieces of meat while frying it. Yeah, you just can't. So, now that we're at this stage, a few things I'm going to do. I'm going to switch to a bigger pin. Now, you could use something flat like this, but it can be hard to do the circular blending, and it tears your pin apart. So, I'm going to get, or your brush. Oh, I say pin. Oh, look, I found some markers I got from my son I need to give him. He'll be happy with those. I try to have backups, because you know how kids are, they destroy their material. So, here's my half a wine jar of paintbrushes. Let's find something really round and big. I wish I had one of those like super flat. You'll have ones like this. Well, actually, this is it. How it has that angle there. And any of you ladies that, well, I guess, you know, I retract that statement. Anyone that uses makeup out there, you probably know how to use this one. So I'm going to put that in the maybe pile. Got Big Lenny here. Ooh, I like Big Lenny. It actually kind of looks like Bert. So we'll put Bert here. Oh, look, this is one of my first brushes. It's that old. Yeah, we'll try that one too. It's got a big head on it. And, Oh, here's what I wanted. More of a chiseled point. You see, flat, chiseled. Okay, and what we won't be using is our happy little fan brush. I'm sorry, I had to do that. Bob Ross. Oh, here's another good one. Nice pointy boy. So, let's do some test marks real quick to see which one I like the most. Now, of course, the downside of this is I will have to clean all these pens. I'll start with Orange Boy. Oh, look, our paint's still a little wet. So it blends like... Oh man, look at that. That pen was dirty. Let's try Big Lenny. I'm kind of liking Big Lenny. I don't like how, I'm liking the coverage with this, but I'm not liking how it's bristling out everywhere. If I get it wet, it looks more, together. But then, it's harder to get those big strokes with it. I don't know, that blending's pretty easy with this, if you ask me. Okay, Big Lenny might be the way to go. So next we're going to try our Makeup Like brush. And while it's good, I see it really... I see this motion really deforming the brush. I'm not sure if I would want to risk messing it up for that. Alright, now we have the chisel. By the way, these aren't official names. This is just what I call them. Oh, that one really... Oh, I'm liking the chisel, see? The chisel is bringing the drizzle. I like that the chisel is bringing the drizzle. But unlike Big Lenny, I don't have a bunch of hair sticking out. And even after the chisel gets wet, it's doing pretty good. That's one reason I was having so much trouble before. And finally, this is actually one I use a lot for calligraphy. Like, probably looks like shit. Yeah, it looks like shit. But, and while it's good for getting some on there, it's not quite as good as the chisel. So it looks like the chisel is the winner. So this kind of stuff is why I always say it's good to test out, you know, especially if you're not sure. Your stuff's just going to turn out better if you do it that way. So I'll put this to the side. We got our Baybolas here. That's one hot puss. And also, I guess, you know, Jessie. Okay, so I'm still using the test paper. I'm still circling on the test paper. I'm going to start in the corner and just... Oh my god, it's getting so much more color in there, bro. So first, let's work it out into the floor. And then just try to... It's pulping the paper so quick, though, if I'm not careful. I might come back and do this a few times, honestly. What's funny is this thinner paper actually seems to be not pulping... Seems not to be pulping as bad as the bigger paper. But it has the added problem of crimpling up more. But man, look at that saturation. So I got color, dip, and go. One more dip. Man, is this doing it for me? I hadn't decided if I'm gonna put like a heavy shadow behind them. I figure I should put like some. Again, the light is coming from an angle. Well, I was going to put shadow on them, but I meant like their shadow cast behind them. Like, I haven't decided, do I want it to be something obvious, or do I want it to be swallowed by... Oh man, this is really gooping up here. Do I want it to be swallowed by the background? Probably add those shadowing details for another time because, again, paper retention. Stepping back though, that dark is looking like something. See, this is a problem with moving quicker, is you could mess stuff up quicker as well. And what I mean by that, with what I have going on at the moment, is just how quickly the paper is saturating out and how quickly I have to address those hard lines when they pop up. I'm probably going to finish this up, let it dry again, and then come back and do another layer. Just like this. They say the whole word, just like this. I'm sure if you've watched me for any extended amount of time, you'll have learned that I'm pretty much just a soundboard for things I've heard. It's like the episode of Futurama. It's like, are you sure he can actually talk, or is it just like a parlor trick, like a Parrot or Fry? Yeah, like Fry, like Fry. The thing is, there's actually stuff, and I wonder how much it's like this with other people, that I'm referencing that is so old at this point. I forget it's a reference sometimes. And then I'll see something like from when I was 5, and I'll be like, that's why I've been saying that this whole time? That's why I've been reusing that joke? That's where that classic came from? I guess it's kind of like those people who, like, they'll have a deep-seated fear they don't know about. Well, they know about it. They're like, it'll be like spiders or something, and they won't know why, and then they'll see like a movie, and then they'll remember like, oh, I saw that when I was a freaking little kid. It freaked me out. Personally, my son's funny because he loves horror stuff, but he also don't like scary stuff. So like, he likes Freddy's. He likes the mouth. He likes anything with a mouth that moves, like a bunch of teeth. Like, he likes that they chomp and they kill, but he's like, no, it's only funny when it's pretend, which, you know, I'm assuming is healthy. But like, he doesn't want to watch the things where they get, or like, he likes the idea of it. He likes to play the pretend with it, but he doesn't want to do the games or see it or hear it. Which, whatever, it's him. I just support what he wants, if I think it's healthy for him. I mean, even if I don't agree with something, I try to support it best I can as a parent. I figure that's important. It's like part of providing context. If he can't share what he likes with me just because I don't like it, how can I provide context? It's like when he was 2 and he got into Sonic. The first thing I did is I went and just researched a bunch of Sonic lore, and then it freaked me out, and I had to make that comic to deal with it. So I'll probably again, I'll probably read that Sonic comic on here at some point when I start doing book reviews again. I know there's people who want some of the, especially the Crusader ones, to keep coming out. And I have not forgot. I do plan to go back and do more of them, especially once my son's in school. I'll have more free time. I'll probably do them here from now on. Because, I mean, I just really like my desk in here. But, I mean, I could make that kind of stuff now, but it's like background noise, you know? Oh, you see how it jammed under there? You could really mess your stuff up doing that. You gotta be careful and patient. Yeah, I'm not liking how her hair's looking. How there's that, like, definitive outline there. Okay, so it's starting to get that nice cloudy faded in look. I definitely want some more, but again, my paper's too wet, so I'm gonna take another little break, and we'll get back to it in a minute. Okay, it's pretty dry. Got a bunch of the pulp off of there. So we're gonna go at this again. I'm not gonna lie, this is like the most annoying step so far. Now, I mostly use my water in this color, but still. I want to saturate the heck out of it. Okay, I want this stuff to be doik. And that is exactly what I want right there. I'm going to actually keep this one separate from the ground because, well, the ground is the ground, and it is not. Well, because the ground and the wall behind them is going to have light on it differently, obviously. By the way, I've decided to try to put a thick shadow behind them. I will probably do that in a different video when I go and I add shadowing to them as well. But yeah, to Jessie Sue and to Meow's fan, all the shadowing that is going to require. I'm putting the sample paper up here so it's quicker to get to. All the things that are going to require paint shadow. And then I'm going to bolster the shadow with color pencils. Kind of nice to get to see it now, I guess. But I have to be a lot more careful. Not only to stay in frame, but just not to run my... Just a bowl honky. I'm going to put it over here. You know, that's a weird expression, bull honky. I always kind of figured they're just talking about, like, animal waste, but now I realize, like, what if it's just, like, a white guy and there's some sort of cuck situation? I had to explain to my mother what that meant the other day. I don't remember what she was watching. She's always watching some inappropriate thing, and then not understanding it, and then being like, "What is this? You really want me to tell you? I don't want it in my phone if it's gross." Coming over here, gonna do very to the edge with that. Boom, boom. I've seen some people, I'm not saying they're right and I'm not saying they're wrong, but they use the dimples on here for mixing their color, and personally I always thought that was messy. Didn't care for it. Try to keep my paint area clean. I hate, you'll see like, I mean, they made fun of it in Not Another Teen Movie, how they'll always have the painter chick, and she'll have like overalls with paint on them, like just all over them, and it's like a stereotype. You'll even see people when they want to pose for cute pictures, they'll get like the overalls with the paint on them. It's the stereotype of this is what the female artist looks like. And a lot of painters I know, really talented painters, actually rarely got the paint on them. Unless they were just messy painters. The most artists I ever seen get paint on them were actually spray paint artists. That's because those cans mess up, they get all over the place. But honestly, like, you gotta think realistically, if you're sitting there just covered in paint, you're gonna make a huge mess. You're gonna... Well, I mean, if you've ever been to an art studio, I mean, they're usually pretty messy and there's paint everywhere. Especially a class one, like, people who are learning, but... There is a certain level, I gotta tell you, where you stop making as much of a mess on yourself. Well, actually, maybe it's like eating. Some people, they're just gonna use their hands and make a big mess. No matter what. That's just how they eat. I actually eat most of my meals with chopsticks, just because I start off like picking up coins and stacking them to get used to them, but so much stuff is better with chopsticks. It's like chopsticks for hands. Once in a while I'll use a spoon. More often a spork. That's the thing, I'm either using chopsticks or I'm using the most American utensil there is, a spork. The thing is, like, eating utensils are a bit like weapons and armor. Like fantasy or people who don't understand will be like, oh, it's like an armored knight with a katana or whatnot. They just mix and match. You'll see it especially in fantasy games a lot, but everything was made to counter something else. And when you look at like a lot of Eastern recipes that are eaten with chopsticks, the food is more designed around the chopstick. The meat is more sliced up. It is made in a dish where it's easy to consume out of a bowl of chopsticks. You order something a lot of times in America, you're going to get a big piece of meat, you're going to get a fork and knife, and you're expected to cut it. Even Korean barbecue, where you're expected to cook it, they slice the meat for you. And when you look at like Western dishes, a lot of our dishes tend to be catered around either eating with your hand, which I'm not saying like, like anyone who's seen the glory of Chinese street food, there's plenty of hand food, but it's around our utensils, and there's a bit more, like with Eastern cooking, like you're expected to be given the thing, to eat. Like, a lot of times with American cooking, there's like, oh, a little assembly. I like how they give you a cheeseburger. Like, you go to a nice restaurant, they'll give you a cheeseburger. Instead of just asking what you want on it, they give you, like, the little lettuce, tomato, onion pile for you to put on however you want. Yeah, a lot of our weapons were like that, too. Like, you look at, say the conquistadors, why they had that split down the middle of their chest plate. It was to deflect arms. Well, it's to deflect bullets, like... Or like samurai, it's like... their swords pretty much couldn't cut through their armor very well. There was like a gap in some of them where the neck is, and that's why you see so much neck protection, where you could lop someone's head off pretty well. A few places you could stab. That's why they did a lot of like disabling things, like cutting behind the knee. Because the armor was made to stop arrows. In fact, like Japanese, like, well, why don't they use shields? Well, because the archers had those mobile shields. I cannot remember the European or the Japanese word for them, so I'll just put it up on screen. But then the shoulder pads on much, or on a lot of armor, those were actually like, those were to stop arrows. And that's why I think you get like such big shoulder pads today in a lot of like Japanese anime and whatnot. I mean, even Evangelion. They mimic how their armor was. Okay. The thing is wet. Guess my ex-wife was wrong. I can't make a woman wet. Little Totodile, you know, he got excited. He jumped down. So, I'm going to cut down on the bad language, and there's more bad language. It looks about where I want. Do a little more blending over here. So, it's sopping wet. I'm going to let it dry. Yeah, so in the next video, I'll be adding some heavy shadowing. I'll be adding some shadowing behind them, probably like this. Like to an angle, a bit offset. I'll be doing shadowing on the clothes, on the fan. Maybe filling in the edges. I would like the top edges a little darker, but they're really moist at the moment, so I'm going to probably try to blend a little bit more on top. So next video I'll probably start on top because these big blends aren't taking very long at all. And then get to the shadowing. And then I will do the final layer of the color pencil. So we're looking at probably at least 3 more videos of this. I'll definitely have my son's reaction in the last one. And we'll find somewhere to hang it on his wall. I actually really like it. I like the aura, you know, the aura about the mini, especially now, like here. I'm not liking the shadowing up here as much, but like here, looks very three-dimensional. It looks good. It looks way more three-dimensional than it did, especially Meowth with how his feet are, because he's in that, you know, he's in that ready-to-draw stance. But Jessie looks a little flatter. All that's going to even out when we add the shadowing. So, you know, this one's really starting to pop. I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. If you made it this far in the video, I'd like to thank you. You know, it helps me out. Any engagement, anytime you like my videos, you comment, you share, it greatly helps me out. And until I see you back for another one of these, you know, have a great one.